You do get big value out of that. We're going into our first draft between BLG and LGD. Last time these teams faced, LGD won that series 2-1. Since then, BLG absolutely blew Top Esports out of the water. It feels like they're alive and awake again, so LGD, I'm not going to imagine they're going to have the same opening they had the last time.
Rounds were rapid and swift. You can see Leona, Brand, and the Kindred away. On one side, of course, Meteor, big player of those two junglers in particular. On the other side, the Rumble, you cannot give that up versus the team. The Tristana and the Ashe, all very potent picks for top, mid, and bot, respectively, depending on champion. First pick, Sejuani, for sure.
This Sejuani first pick has come out of a number of teams. NIP are doing it, Top Esports are doing it, now BLG are doing it as well. It really does seem like a departure from the more traditional AP junglers. Long gone now are the days of like the Karthus early picks. The Zyra's still around. The Brand is the champion, which is the problem when it comes to picking the Sejuani, because the Sejuani just gets instantly burned.
Brutal.
Like you go in for engage and suddenly your whole team's just exploded into the conflagrations. It's a bit of an issue. LGD looking to pick up some of the higher tier carries, so they get Shaya onto Ezreal, which is one of his comfort picks, and Haichao onto the Corki. Now expecting Talia to maybe go towards the Talia at this point. You already have the AD jungle. If this opens up AP mid laners for Knight, this is really, really powerful. I prefer a Knight on the AP mid laners.
Could also potentially look towards a Yone here and immediately locks in. You've got the Sejuani already, so it's good pairing, especially with Shun wanting to play a little more aggressively. Seen a lot of our best Sejuanis do. Alongside the Kennen for Bin, blind picking that option, saying, Birdle, you've got nothing that will be able to manage this.
Yeah, so, this is now a big old problem. So what is Birdle going to do in that top side? Do you want to pick it now? Do you need Meteor on a choice champion? I think the Lily is good. You can either go for the Lily or the Nidalee, but you don't have any setup in your pool locked in right now. So I think that can potentially be a problem. I think the Lily would be a better lock-in as it stands. They go towards the Jace, which means that's going to be a Jace top lane into the Kennen. Look, BLG just beat out 369's Jace in that top side. Birdle is a carry player historically. Going towards the Jace, it is a gauntlet thrown by Birdle, but given what BLG just did to Top Esports, I think this is very, very risky.
We're going right back to Season 7. It's Haru playing the Ezreal jungle, I'm telling you right now. That's exactly what's happening. And the Jace is going mid, clearly. But jokes aside about random placements of champions, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. A lot of AD and poke locked in. You're going to need to find some AP somewhere. Of course, not the tankiest team as yet. Of course, the Sejuani will build armor. You can go Jackdaw on the Yone, so perhaps I tell a lie there. But still, really indexing into one style of damage, even if it is going to be pretty consistent. Zyra banned out by BLG. I think they ban away something like the Lilia as well. And you are running a little shy on those options.
Yeah, you don't have enough magic damage as it stands. You can go towards I think the Lilia is fine. I think the Lilia is fine here. You need that, honestly. Yeah. You can then go for a last pick support, which then gives you the counter pick into that bot lane. Hopefully that allows Jin Zhao and Shaya to survive that laning phase. BLG, what have they got on the table right now? They could go towards a Ziggs if you wanted to. Ziggs Nautilus. You go for the Kai'Sa Nautilus as well. Both of them sound pretty good. Kai'Sa's good into the Ezreal. Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling like a Kai'Sa here, Sam. I think that's quite good for the team. Alongside an engaged support, that means the whole team is diving in. They have a coherent identity. That should be fine. Elk is an incredible player of the champion, and then On can go towards something like that Nautilus as well.
And we know Elk as well is a bloodthirsty carry into the Ezreal in particular. We have seen Kai'Sa's take them apart on last series. Tried real damn hard to carry that series for the side of Invictus Gaming. Couldn't quite do it, but of course was a menace on the Kai'Sa in particular. Thinking about a Nautilus, you've already got a lot of pick. Pairs up super well with the Kai'Sa in terms of setting things up, but a lot of options here would work just fine for On.
BLG, if they lock in the Nautilus, have a really good single target pick. It also means that it reduces some of the efficacy of Merc Treads, because a lot of his CC can't be you know, tenacity out because it's knockups. So that's potentially quite important here for BLG. They already have a lot of AoE teamfight from the Kennen and from the Yone as well, so they don't necessarily need that again from their support. You do need that from LGD though. You don't have any AoE teamfight engage. You have a Swell Seed occasionally, so they need to go towards something big engage. They don't have them. They would have liked the Rakan actually, honestly. But they go towards that Alice now because it's the only AoE teamfight engage they really have. Also doubles up as a frontline. I don't think LGD have a particularly good combination to stop BLG from getting on them. This is going to be a big problem. Alistair can stop one person getting into the fray. You can't stop 5.
Yeah, exactly. They've kind of gone for the Alistair in some ways because with the Arbon at least can be sole frontline for a bit.
Yeah.
What LGD do have is insane ranged poke. Every single one of their champions outside of the Alistair has some way of being really frustrating from about a screen away. The Lilia on obviously a bit of a longer cooldown with the Swell Seed, but I'm assuming that'll be a maybe even a max on second if they really want to index into it. But still, the problem will be that BLG are hardly shy on pulling the trigger, and they've got a lot of triggers to pull.
This is like, I don't know, I mean, what's a multi-trigger thing? You normally have the double-barreled shotgun. This is like a multi-barreled, like, carronade or something like that.
They've got themselves a Gatling gun.
Yeah, they have that. You know, there was, funny enough, we take it back to Chinese culture as well. They had themselves a 3-barreled gunpowder weapon, which you hold over hold over your shoulder, and you'd rotate it to fire the 3 different barrels.
It's like a Gatling bazooka.
Well, kind of, except it was more like the bullets. It was like, it was smaller ball at that point. But yeah, that was a weapon that they had. China was well ahead in terms of the gunpowder race for a long time. In fact, did you know, fun fact for you, plate armor was developed after gunpowder. It's just it just wasn't widespread enough to make enough of a difference.
There you go.
So yeah, that's a fun fact for you. Either way, not particularly relevant to what we have here, but BLG, I guess they have all of those guns to bring to bear. LGD, they have a squishy composition. It's going to be hard for them to survive that initial engage. And I think it's going to be hard for them to survive that laning phase too. I'm particularly looking towards Birdall on this Jace. It is a historical pick for him. He has never really pulled it out in the LPL against the Kennen from Bin, who destroyed 369's Jace at the same time. So LGD, big emphasis on their early game and their laning phase.
The best top laner in the league, arguably the world. The crowd begins to yell, BLG on a rampage. Can LGD stop them? In a surprise to no one, the crowd's here, very vocal today. BLG, one of the biggest fan bases in the LPL right now with the members they've got on them. Bin, Knight, huge fan bases following those individual players. The success of BLG has earned them a lot of love too. And on the other side, LGD, one of those long-standing orgs here as well, looking to stand up and defeat the best team in the league one more time. And I say that slightly dubiously because, of course, the likes of Top Esports still around, even if BLG did get the better of them in the first series they played in the Rumble stage.
Yeah, no, BLG. That was in their flop era or whatever it is. I'm trying to remember what it is when like people. I think it's the flop era when your videos aren't doing as well as they should do on like TikTok or Instagram. Anyway, they're in that. They're kind of back now though. They found themselves back on trending. They get themselves a huge win. And now, look, my post-group power ranking had BLG as 3rd place team because they were disrespecting teams. They were off form. Knight wasn't playing well in the meta. And Elkanon couldn't play weak side. I think that now, after that series, I'm willing to say already immediately, all right, they've woken up, great stuff. This isn't a good start, though.
Now it takes a huge chunk. There's a flash on him from Jinja, but stays alive largely. And the AD carries definitely have a slight discrepancy in health bars remaining after that.
Yeah, you can see that Elk still has the barrier, so he can barrier bait. He uses that pot. I really like how On uses the W instead of using the hook. He says, all right, I'm going to walk up, going to attack some stuff, gets the auto attack resets, gets some good trading back, and has that shield to help contest the wave. It can be really useful. Nautilus is a champion which can level different things that first level. Now he has the hook and you can go in, and he's got no flash.
Damage on Jinja is pretty huge. The exhaust comes on down. The pulverize comes afterwards. Flash on him from Elk. Another auto would do it, and first blood secured by On. Traded back immediately though. Xiaoye can look to go forward, but reminder that barrier is still available for Elk even if the flash has been blown.
I think On didn't quite realize that Elk had the killer blow there, so he ends up taking the kill away from his AD carry, whereas Xiaoye gets there on the other side. Yeah. Obviously that does value LGD a little bit higher at this point. Xiaoye gets some good damage down, but still any gold over to Elkatul is a bit of a problem. Birdall, he's pushed up in the top side a little too far.
Birdall, what was happening?
Yeah, so big thing in this kind of matchup, you don't want to get within E flash range of Kennen, because that's how you get like the instant stun. The E flash into W, get an extra auto with a Q can be really important.
Knowing, of course, that Shun came up having done 3 camps to look in that top side because of that early walk from Birdall means Meteor can walk on in here and potentially look to contest this camp. Could get pretty difficult. Goes to the watch out. Eve is not taken. Now Meteor in a dangerous position as the permafrost comes on down to start to trade out now. There is no responses yet. The Conqueror now stacked from Meteor means he will win this extended trade. Swell Seed lands. Shun in danger, has to Arctic Assault away. High Chop coming on over, flash on in for more slows. Shun's gonna burn down. Another Q would do it. The auto, the passive, not quite there. The Q will do the work.
And none of the solo laners are coming to BLG. Big mistake by Shun by using his Q and his W in kind of ineffective manners. He could have ended up trading back, but I think by using the first part of that W, then Qing backwards, he loses all of his damage. Meteor realizes that, and it's another kill for this jungler now. Well, I say another kill. His first kill, another kill in this split. Not really relevant, all the same. Meteor, so important for LGD. He gets himself on the board. Really, really important in this game is the Lilia 2. That is a lot of the way which you're going to keep Shun on the Sejuani back and pen back into their own jungle.
And that's really good response to the vision that was gained because of Birdall's early ward that spots Shun coming on up. Meteor knows to go on in. And what are you giggling at?
Look, again, I try not to check chat while this is happening. As soon as he dies, the chat explodes into, Wei is starting next game! Get Wei on stage! Well, that's the pressure you put on yourself at this point.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's great. Jesus.
Curve and pull back. Yeah, occasionally pay attention to the chat. Only occasionally.
I typically check it to see if there's any tech issues because we're producing this at the same time. That's book coming in, but the buffer out from Xiaoya.
While the wave in a slightly awkward position, and you can see why Jinzhao and Xiaoya playing a little bit defensive because Shun was on that bot side of the map, so would be difficult to contest that wave too hard. Top side, Birdol's got a large wave here to clean up. We'll go to the skies briefly and try and put a few minions in the grounds.
So, top lane hasn't... I think the good thing here for... Well, no. It's not good for either team just yet, we'll see. But neither top lane has gotten ahead of the other one just yet. Because even with this kill happening between Meteor and Shun, Meteor's going down towards bot side. That's a Hex Flash into next brush. They should know he's there. They had a ward in that middle brush. They know that they can't force that through there. So, the fact that Birdol's not ahead of Bin just yet is kind of important. It is... If you get a kill onto Jace early, Jace is half the champion you should be. In top lane specifically, because it's a long lane where Jace survives these plays by doing so much damage that you can't fight him. Typically he does that with the Conqueror. When you have the phase rush, you can run back from long lanes a little bit more with acceleration gate and your form change, but if Birdol ends up getting a kill onto him soon, it can be particularly problematic. Jinzhao still has no flash, and that's a bit of a problem.
You can come over and just 1v3 effectively, because Jinzhao has no HP bar to work with, goes down pretty swiftly. On gets another kill though, as the Ignite does the work required to get the kill. Slightly frustrating, it doesn't go over to another member.
Yeah, Xiaoya does have flash and he has cleanse, so he tanks up that first with the W. Xiaoya needs to be a little careful there. He's going to get zoned out a little bit from this next wave, so he's going to be down in CS. That's a bit of a problem. The fact that Elk and On have managed to deny some CS from the Ezreal can be pretty important at that point. So BLG going to go towards top side, get themselves 3 grubs. That's a nice cross map, especially if they can get Jace into a winning situation. That can be something they can leverage very hard. Jinzhao's going back towards bot side.
Jinzhao is going to be here, dragging started and taken away, but can they catch someone on the response? Elk gets hit up very early, doesn't have the flash up and available yet, so he's likely going to fall. Nowhere to go for the Kai'Sa. Meteor picks up the kill, and a couple Dark Seal stacks.
Dies like a second before his flash comes up. Birdol jumps into the Slicing Maelstrom. That will not do him any favors. Bin takes a great trade there, has the flash still, potential for a kill after this point. Birdol pot ticking, should be safe for now with no one else roaming to his lane.
Get all of the minions too, and is just about fine. Just jumping on in there. Will likely need to reset, however, and Bin will get the free shove on in, and likely a play afterwards. So Birdol, seeing that Bin is going to continue hard shoving, sticks around to at least clear up this wave. It is a cannon wave too.
On back out onto the map. The Fed Nautilus now. 2 kills. Has the Swifty boots to get himself quite quicker on those roams, and can sometimes help versus the slows that come out from the Swirl Seed. That can do as well. Elk, this is the problem where you have no ability to cross the wall, especially when your ult's not unlocked just yet and you don't have that flash. Blue side wall, when you're taking Dragon, pins you down there into that river. Very hard to play that. That's why I don't hear that many people talking about this when I listen into other casts. I think terrain in early game objectives is so freaking important. Getting stuck in the Baron Pit's the obvious example, but even just here, if you don't have flash and you're around Dragon, you have to take it early. You're gonna have to find some way to cross that wall. That's why stuff like Bard or Zeri being able to cross walls can have extra power there. The Elk Kai'Sa can't do that at that point without that flash or ult.
And I feel like I've seen so many supports sit in that banana bush and catch someone alongside that really long wall now as they're heading back towards Raptors, their own mid lane, and getting caught out on the extraction from a dragon. Yeah.
It's, weirdly, I didn't mind geography in school. I didn't think it would become, like, my favorite topic here in League of Legends. Like, oh, yeah, that's a terrain, look at all this!
And what's the social demographic of Dragon Pit? Dragons, mostly.
Dragons, mainly, yeah. Depends, you got like a slight, I kind of want to see what, like, there's the predator-prey curve between things. What's like that between most of the different creatures on Summoner's Rift? I mean, you've got like, I feel like Gromp is not the prey animal we assume.
Well, I think we all swear on Gromp anyway.
On Gromp.
On Gromp, yeah. Shout out to Orc.
Shout out to Orc. For a while in the LEC studio, there was just a little tag card, a little flip card, which just said on Gromp, which just got hidden at different points around the studio.
I'm pretty sure that was Orcs who did
Yes,
that.
It was. Yeah. Yes. No, as I was saying, it was there. Yeah, so that was a thing. I don't think it's there anymore since the studio rebuild, but I think they might have gotten rid of that. But yeah, that was around for a while.
No, Gromp's not there anymore. It's not on. And now On's on Nautilus anyway, so I don't really know what to tell you.
Yeah, so LGD, we said that their early games have been kind of crap recently. They're ahead right now, and I think particularly Meteor getting those 2 kills is huge. Meteor has been the MVP for LGD so far. He has been the player to watch. Incredible play so far. Finn has managed to take a decent trade against Birdle and managed to keep this wave in a good spot. You normally need a 4 minion advantage to get yourself a freeze. He's not looking for a freeze now. Grub's spawning in a minute. He wants to just keep this wave crashed in. He will potentially look to get himself another wave build-up, but he just didn't want to have the wave on his side to allow LGD into the river. Sometimes you think, oh, great for my individual lane if I get to freeze this. Well, the objective's coming up. That's not very healthy for Xiaoya there. He's a level down. You need to be careful with that Kai'Sa.
Yeah, that's what the Nautilus roaming is allowed in some ways, is a slight bit more of the XP, and Xiaoya is being zoned off this wave right now. No realistic way to step forwards in a safe manner. Really tricky right now. Another E forwards. That's the W. Gets some decent work with the Essence Pluck, but the trade is still pretty rough as Fleet Footwork doing his damage. Pairs the ultimate. Misses that great arcane shift from Xiaoya. Misses his own ultimate in trade.
Yeah, so gets the survival there, which could be very important for the Ezreal. Jinjao's going in, but that might be a bit too far. Pops the ultimate. Doesn't pop it at all. I thought he was going to pop that a little earlier.
Xiaoya needs to be really careful here. Another auto just kills him, right? Flash shot in, he's dead.
Xiaoya, you cannot give that freebie to Elk. He has the barrier still. You're not going to kill him. Wait until that wave crashes into your turret. Xiaoya has occasionally had these mental flubs. He's been someone who's had them later into the game. I feel like Xiaoya, coming from the LDL, has had some stronger moments, but this is not it. You cannot give that gold to Elk. He is such an assassin on the Kai'Sa.
Elk, when he gets to manipulate waves like that, is so good at zoning off and punishing, as Jinjiao now pops the ultimate, turning around. The hook is wide from on, has to flash away. There's not going to be reset on that cooldown. Birdle steps on forward and gets an empowered auto attack and a speed gate down. Oh boy, Jinjiao with no ultimate is likely going to fall. Knight gets that one with a fate sealed. Turning around now, the damage onto on, pretty huge. A watch out either way. Spin gets a slicing maelstrom of all time. The lilting lullaby afterwards. Big damage back though as the shock blast is empowered even further by that damage. Another shock blast onto Shun. Down about 10% HP, and Birdle from over the wall can do some damage here. Yeah,
so BLG, they just about survive in the 5v4. There was no Xiaoya there. Xiaoya does have ult, and he's coming through from mid lane. There's a chance they could still fight him.
Can ult someone for some serious damage. Not a lot of HP to work with. They need to be very careful.
Where's Xiaoya going?
Gets Birdle into the backline. They can do some damage down to Shun, is in danger as well. Back away from Birdle. Speeds on up with the phase rush. Cannot get far enough away, and Elk picks up a second.
Xiaoya didn't quite have that ult on, available. I think if he'd had to have another Q on a target to get that cooldown load, maybe he could have gone in there. Birdle very close to a game-changing play. Couldn't quite manage it. LGD do walk away with 4 grubs and unlock the mites, though, importantly, with that extra kill onto BLG.
Stop the back from Knight as well, who would love to teleport in here, and that might mean a couple more plates. Haichao in the bot lane as well. Yes, the kill scores isn't the greatest there around the grubs, but they still managed to get some pretty decent value there on the exit again, do LGD.
I mean, yeah, this is still the best early game we have seen from LGD. Dragons now spawn, they get themselves those grubs, there's no top lane kind of like cross map available. Birdle also has a lot of vision to keep himself safe. LGD happy to head towards bot side. There is a teleport coming in. It's not Finn. This will be Knight, and he doesn't have his ult or flash.
That's aftershock down from Jinjiao. Elk on the flank. He could potentially get in here. On in a dangerous spot himself. Gets hooked on in. The damage though is huge. Haichao gets that one on. Is quickly switched off. Elk is trying to take the dragon on the other side. Doesn't work. Gets stolen away anyway. And now Shun gets the stun, trying to get towards the blast cone. Stunned up in trade though. Falls down at LGD. Maybe they just are the kryptonite for BLG. Superman is falling apart.
Yeah, okay. Not really sure what's happening there, BLG. We have just seen BLG destroy top esports in their series versus them. It was a great series. BLG ended up taking that one over them. We thought that they'd finally woken up, that they stopped disrespecting opponents. These entrances to objectives have been really poor. Thing is, I'm still hesitant to say that LGD are in a good position because Elk is still really, really strong. He doesn't quite get to influence this game, this fight in the way that he wants to. This is a poor entrance to this fight from On. You look for that hook, but realistically, do you think you're going to get through that Alistair? He still has his ultimate. This is a poor engage. You don't have the Oni ultimate. You don't have Kai'Sa in a position to jump into the backline. Giving up kills like this in the Dragon afterwards is not really what you want. You're still even enough in gold. At least Elk is fed. Elk is fed, so I'm still favoring BLG in this game. Yeah. But LGD getting a lot more out of this early game than we expected.
I'm looking at a Lilia with 1,500 gold and an item and a half complete, going for the double burn to be as absolutely noxious on as little hit as possible. Hex Drinker early for Birdle here as well. Understandable into the cannon, which could get a bit annoying, but Still, we are in a position where, because LGD have picked up a couple kills on some of their members, they are a very high damage team from quite a long way away, and if BLG are going to be slow on pulling the trigger or messing up on pulling the trigger, the damage back, the damaging the consistent fights is really high from LGD still.
So they are a high damage team. They're a high squishy team too. Yeah. They're not very tanky. You have Alistar who's tanky. Meteor, by going for the Blackfire Torch, means that he's delaying his own tankiness because you don't go towards the Leandri's HP spike and you don't go towards the Zhonya's second quite easily enough. There are no Zhonyas in LGD. Your AD carries don't get to build that either. So in these kinds of fights, watch to see if Elk can just dive onto the backline. There isn't that much counterplay. Bin 2, he's getting the tank flank teleport.
Turning around, Knight gets a Q3 onto Jin Chow, but Bin into the backline, could look for the flash on in. Slicing Maelstrom, release Corki. Damage now on the other side onto the Alistar. Lilting Lullaby is solid. Gets 4 members down. That's so much damage back, and Birdle in the backline cannot kill. Elk is stunned before the damage is done, but the HP bars beginning to fall. Xiaoya can get one more back. Needs to reset for another E. Gets knocked up again as the Mortal Steel makes sure Xiaoya falls. And LGD, despite a monster ult from Meteor, cannot secure Elk.
Birdle goes in to try and proc the sleep, gets great damage, but there was no one else that could proc that sleep. It means that you end up leaving the Jace in a position where he can't really keep continued DPS. And what were we just saying? Look, LGD's team has really high damage, but they are not tanky. You see that, you know, the Alistar tries to break through this front line, ends up doing a good job of, like, shrugging off some of the initial damage, but the cannon ult doesn't lock. Even through the exhaust, the Alistar goes down quite easily. This sleep is great, but look, there's no rockets from the Corki, there's no AoE ability, so Birdle tries to get the kill onto Elk, but the barrier and the ult just about save him. Slim calculation. If he gets that kill onto Elk, I think this might be a one fight for them, but Elk managed to outplay with a double shield.
North is stopping the multiple. It's actually quite hard to get the follow-up auto attack down as well because of the body block, so to speak, from On. So comes on down. Of course, the game still a pretty close affair. 1,500 gold towards BLG. A lot of it in Knight's hands, actually. 303 on the Yone is quietly having an excellent game here. And Haichao getting caught out by the Glacial Prison before he could do anything as well. Meant that was a full V5 for large portions of that fight.
Also, folks, just enjoy Elk Kaiser games. Folks, just sit here and enjoy it. When we get to see this champion, you get to see Elk at his best, I think. I think this has been his best champion of summer so far. He has had some awesome performances on this, so the fact that he has gold, this is why I was saying, look, LGD, they were further ahead in the early game than I thought they would be. They got a lot of gold in the right places, but just because Elk has gold, I am afraid for him. We see that in that fight. He's really, really good at punishing teams when they leave that opening for ult forwards. He's really good at playing, you know, those defensive turnarounds too. He's 2 levels up on Xiaoya. You know, at this point, you know, if he gets a good mark onto Xiaoya, this could be a big issue.
Knight's coming down as well, actually. They really want to look for this guy.
That's an auto in a single target queue. That's an auto in a single target queue. He has himself that Cull cashed in, Kraken Slayer, and you can see there's a teleport having to be called into this mid lane because Xiaoya cannot defend himself. Haichao is now the person going towards it. They're not going to be able to defend this turret. BLG easy mid turret take.
Goes for the Swirl Seed, gets a little bit of a markdown, but no real ability to pull the trigger in a reasonable time frame. The turret goes down, well managed by BLG. They even get the teleport out of it. What it means they can't look for a tier 2 is Jinzhao. Potentially dangerous spot, and there is a teleport ward behind, but I don't really think there's a great flank champion for the side of LGD.
Yeah, the Jace isn't gonna. Jace wants to be sat there before doing like shock blast and stuff. He's gonna clear out this bottom wave, and Dragon spawning in a couple of seconds is gonna be the next point of concern. Birdle is in a lot of danger here. That's not even with the ult, and a third of his HP is gone. He has the Hex Drinker on, gets the E out of the Ezreal. Jinzhao needs to play these fights so immaculately. If he can block enough of the damage and maybe stop Elk getting in, maybe that can help. It's very, very hard to block out the Kaiser ultimate, but maybe some pinpoint enough pulverizers can make their way through.
Eyes on Meteor as well. A lot of gold on this lady, and there is no cleanse on Elk. If he gets put to sleep, he's staying asleep.
That's the hook. They can't stick around for the poke. LGD, they're committing to the fight.
Jinzhao in danger. The True Shot Barrage is entirely wide. Jinzhao trying to hold on to the flash. Is going to be hit by the Glacial Prison afterwards, and Jinzhao immediately falls. Shun down pretty low here. So could still be at threat, and the poke from the side of LGD still very obnoxious. They need to be a bit wary.
Meteor, he's angling.
Nice, get knocked up, in danger, does get the dragon. Xiaoya gets it. The follow-up damage is a 1-for-1 right now. What happens is Xiaoya trying to get a hold of Shun. The slicing Maelstrom will trade back. Birdle alive on the other side as the Soul and Bound runs out of time, and Haichao gets to back away.
It's a 2 for 2 and the Dragon over to LGD. So somehow LGD win that fight in terms of the raw numbers they get out of that alone. Jin Zhao, oh sorry, no, 3 for 2 because Jin Zhao ends up dying for that too. Yeah, he respawned. Okay, all the same. BLG get the extra kill and they do get to stick in this side lane. So I guess with that the extra added kind of bonus to it, BLG still probably went out in terms of the immediate value, but the Dragon going over to LGD will definitely be something they'll look to leverage off later by trying to get towards a soul point. LGD just about make that work, even though Jin Zhao didn't have himself a great position.
Finn's going to try and come over the side in a second here. Knight, no ultimate, does have flash, maybe forced to burn one or the other. I don't know how much value he gets from the Spirit Cleave there. The damage onto Birdall is foul though, and they're going to have to turn away. Ginger has to flash, here comes Bin. Oh my days, Knight is just too strong.
He didn't even pop his shield bow. It wasn't as close as it seems because of that item in inventory. Knight, 5-0-4. It's been a while since we could talk about Knight being a driving force of BLG. He's kind of chilled out for most of summer, hell, even most of spring. But it really feels like now Knight is really starting to take off. His series versus top esports, immaculate. His series here now, starting off with a great Yone game. You can see that Ginger immediately hooked out. It's quite hard to tell when he should start ulting. He ults around about here, but most of his HP is gone. And I think that combo's maybe a combo too far. He does have that flash. He doesn't want to pull it. He puts himself sadly into the abattoir beyond that point. Things get really messy beyond this point though, because Meteor knows that there's no Sejuani ult, knows that it's quite hard for him to get engaged onto. Knight still manages to get that knockup though. Meteor still misplays this. I think he thinks that because there's no Sejuani ult, he's safe. He probably should have flashed out of, yeah.
And I think the other thing is Shun there being chunked out so much during the pick onto Jin Zhao. Couldn't step forward to be really doing that much damage to the Dragon, because then he'd be in range for Meteor's Q. Those blooming blows could be difficult. Fight about to commence again as On gets the aftershock, they're still burning down. Meteor in danger! Knight goes over the wall with a Fate Seal. Meteor just about alive, but then comes Elk into the backline. Stays alive with the supercharger speed. On the read from On! Make sure the Shaya falls out. It's a 3 for none. BLG find everything they were looking for.
Once again, the mobility, the punishing playstyle of BLG
Baron
comes to bear. And yeah, Baron's only been on this map for less than a minute. It's a little baby Baron. It's still going to be put into the hands of BLG. LGD, it was a better start to this game, but they have been out-team fought, they've been out-skirmished, and they've been out-carried by Elk and by Knight particularly.
The damage has been pretty foul. It looked for a moment like LGD might get out. Elk says absolutely not. Ours into the backline. Meteor falls, and then, oh no, what a read. We'll see it all in 4K right now because it got very messy for a second.
Yeah, you know, Meteor and Ginger, they're kind of fighting up into this point. You don't have a flash on the Alistair. You need to be having people in range to do damage. Birdall, also really poor angle from him too. Shaya gets a little bit of damage by going over the wall, but you know, Birdall's not allowed into this fight because On is just man-marking him at this point, and we saw exactly what Knight and Elk could do in the split fight. Really powerful plays from the carries of BLG. I mentioned Knight and Elk earlier. I mean, Bin is also deathless and having great ults in almost every team fight. BLG, you know, they had a bit of a slip-up around particularly Shun and On, just kind of engaging into their deaths. The fact is, though, if they're dying for their teammates, though, it's completely fine.
As well, see there, Fate sealed away from Knight, was aware there was probably a collapse coming on through, but of course with the Baron, that means everyone else from BLG is shoving through mid and top.
Yeah, I mean, BLG, really hard to get under their skin at this point. You can see that. At this point, Shun and On, even if they engage in less than wise conditions, the follow-up is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Flicker Blades on Elk. He's not even gone towards the Rage Blade. He's gone towards Flicker Blades, going towards the full AD, and he's been completely happy with it. It means that his Q does an absolute boatload of damage. There's no real armor on the side of LGD either. The full physical damage has been impactful. High Charge flashes away.
Stays alive, but Shun, a really good angle on that one, forced the flash nonetheless. Teleport now coming on through. The Shock Blasters, minimal damage. That's an item and a half on there, Jace, with one of them being a Hex Drinker for lane. Really isn't hitting all that hard right now.
No, it is not. And Birdall, he wasn't ganked in the early game, but it just feels like LGD, they fought before you could really get the items where they needed to. Birdall doesn't have that Muramana. He's on one item and then components after that point, which means your power spike has been really delayed. LGD have a triple poke comp. They would love to be playing right quad even if you count around the double burn of Meteor. The poke comp is nasty if you hit everything. They are not being allowed to stand and fight. BLG, you're engaging far too quickly. What the hell happened here? I mean, Jinjao tries to get the combo out, forces the ult out of it. That's it.
Gets that at least, and I appreciate Jinjao for looking. Again, at 0-7 and 5, it looks bad for the Alistair, but that was the role of this game. You were always going to be the sacrificial cow. I guess lamb is not quite the right livestock in this particular scenario.
Yeah, a plaintive moo. A plaintive moo goes at every time that the start of the fight happens. He's like, okay, I'll see you on the supermarket shelves.
No!
Yeah, God, I feel bad about that. Oh God, yeah. Look, folks, I feel bad about like taking leaves off of my house plants You know?
You are very protective.
I'm very protective
of
of that. I really feel like I'm going too far with that. Anyway, LGD, they're not... It's the big problem when you're playing the big tank initiators. When your team fight goes wrong, your tanks don't really have a way out. The reason that you're seeing so many deaths on Jinja is because the team's losing the team fights. That's an indication of it.
Is a little bit, and as we can see, BLG let their meat free range, freshly caught on the farm. That has been LGD.
But I don't know, you've got cow hunting,
Well,
yeah.
ranching probably at this point, I suppose. But there we go, another one down. Mazel would have the better terminology, I'm sure. But here we are.
Yeah, that's the one. So, LGD, they have been very much held back. Very, very much held back as we now get to see how quickly BLG can finish this game. The Baron buffer's gone off. We don't have a soul right now. It does feel like it. BLG, all they're looking to do is looking for an excuse for another fight. They have teleport and bin. He doesn't have the flash. I don't think he needs it. I think Elk is ready to just like split open this game again. The Baron didn't earn like a huge amount, but it earns them the map pressure. And that's the big thing.
I mean, as we all know, the Elk is the most dangerous predator in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, beyond anything like a lion or a tiger, it's absolutely the Elk. Truly vicious.
Yeah, do you think when Elk like wins Worlds, does he get to call himself like Moose or something at that point?
Well, my brother was bitten by one of those before.
Yeah. You know that, weirdly, one of Moose's main predators, and this is genuinely true, this is a fun fact for you all. Did you know that one of Moose's main predators, one of Moose's main predators are killer whales?
What?
Killer whales are one of the main predators of Moose.
My issue with this, Alex,
Yes.
is that mooses, whatever you want to call them,
Moosei, you really put your whole moose into that. Yeah,
but you see, one of these is a terrestrial animal, and generally speaking, a killer whale, as far as I know, do not have legs.
Yeah. Well, this is why sometimes you'll see this giant-ass creature swimming through the big lakes trying to get from one part of a forest to another. Moose swim really, really far, and they can swim through like the big lakes and stuff, and through like fjords and shit like that. So often it ends up being that moose go into deep enough water that orcas start killing moose. Genuinely, that is genuinely a thing. Go look it up. The orcas have been known to kill moose.
Well, as we know in Lord of the Rings, meat's back on the menu, says the orca captain. So, yeah.
That's wow.
That's very
what
true.
about one of the legs? They don't need those.
Don't need those. That's what I assume all orcas sound like now.
Have you seen that video edit of like all of the orcs just replaced by this like some dude from Midwest America? It's like meat's back on the menu, meat's back in the menu, boys. That's just
Why are you going wildly Australian on this? Is on.
Look, Sam, my accents are not. They're not my favorite word. Look, also, not really much is happening right now. We've got a big break in the objectives coming through. On's got Warmogs, he'll heal back up. BLG are just looking to full court press and take things out around the last objectives. But you don't want to go for a big burst combo here.
I don't know, you can chunk out Bin pretty early. That's really good. Forces the flash on the other side. Jin Zhao tanking the other members. They get the cannon. That's well done.
Yeah, BLG, they weren't shadowing close enough. They don't spot the motions of LGD moving through the jungle. And they end up losing their top lane, and losing their top lane is Flash, importantly. What did LGD lose? They lose nothing. They lose a grand total of nothing. Bertle gets the play from that brush fog of war, and finally that Jace gets some real value, getting that cannon off the board.
They don't have to face check too hard here either, because they got a ward in the back of the Baron pit. So, yep, that's fine. You're not on it. It's fine. 15 seconds till it spawns anyway.
So, Baron coming up. This will delay BLG's map setup. They tried to choke out BLG into their own side, deprive them of any kind of vision. They're not able to do that. You see that LGD, their poke, when they are not being under threat of engage, is really, really powerful. Because they take out their cannon, they're happier to do that. But they have now pushed beyond. Look, there's some blue pings on the minimap. You can see it right there, around the Krog pit. You can see that BLG, they might want to teleport it anyway. Bin's coming in. They've overpushed. They're going into the cannon death trap here. Yeah, teleport into the wave.
They're going to try and place one up before the cannon can get here. Still going to be a ways off before that play can happen. Remember, no Flash does have the ultimate. Still continue to trade on and Shun, taken very low. Knight now having to back away, has the Q3 available. Flash away from Elf, who got hit by the lilting lullaby. Bertle in danger. Cannon still not here. Now Bin can look for a play. The fate sealed does its work. They murder the Ezreal. Down already. Jin Zhao not in position to body block. The damage from Elk is huge. Continue to play on out. They get another. Elk vaults to get another. One remaining member in Bertle, who jumps onto Bin, knocks him away. And Cannon late to the party, but not late enough to allow LG to win anything. They will turn game one into a victory.
Knight gets the perfect engage to buy the time for Bin. First it's Knight, then it's on. Elk manages to get back into the play, and BLG shows exactly why. They are the improv team fight gods. You give them enough materials, give them enough paint to put on the easel, and they'll make a work of art out of it. LGD, they beat BLG at the first time of asking, well, in the second time of asking in the group stage. They will not do so here in the first game.
Oh, well, who needs a script when you can just follow my cues? Whose ult was it anyway? BLG masters Not just a comedy, but high drama. What a fight to end it all.
Is it comedy? Is it tragedy? Feels like a little bit of both in this game for LGD, who found themselves their first winning situation. They killed that cannon, and then it turns very quickly into a tragedy after that point. LGD, a better early game from them, some good on-the-fly decision-making too, but it just wasn't enough, and BLG walk away with that first game through some really, really fun team fighting. And again, these guys improv their way through so many situations. It's not as clean as what we saw from the top esports series, but it was clean enough on the day. Welcome back, everyone. Hi, I'm Alex,
Hello,
also known as
strangers.
Nymaera. This is my brother, Sam, also
Hi.
known as Initialise. Yes, we're brothers. You don't really see that much in esports, but we put up with each other enough to cast these games which are being played but not broadcast in English on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So if you don't get to see them, you can come here to watch them, and you can come here and enjoy it with us. So BLG take that first game, and I think it was not as clean as versus top esports. I think it's very clear that they had some very good prep going into that top esports series, and they were a little bit lax in some of the situations here. But still, the team fight improv from this team is so good.
Yeah, and honestly, that mid lane fight could have gone very, very wrong if they hadn't held the line so well, because Elk getting over the wall away from the lilting lullaby that had stunned him up could have been dangerous if he was jumped onto.
Yeah.
Didn't. Got to Elk later in the fight. Knight finds a huge fate sealed onto 2. Jinjiao being stunned up and he couldn't body block the hook from on. That gets onto Xiaoya, that leads to his, you go through this list of moments and they're just very good players, bluntly. I think that has to be